Hi guys, this is Geneva Style. Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we're going to do a little bit of a review of one of the most underrated shows that I've ever watched on Netflix, and I would like to do this more often, actually commenting on shows and movies that are to me underrated. So that's what we're gonna do today. And before we get into it, make sure you subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And let's get into it. The show in question, as the title suggests, is Spinning Out. So Spinning Out is it's an ice skating sports series, and I was kind of surprised because I've always watched and loved ice skating numbers and performances, and I always like to see ice skating portrayed in TV shows, series, movies, anything. I always enjoyed ice skaters and their journey and stuff because it's a really tough sport. But this show actually surprised me greatly because it kind of exceeded my expectations. I've seen some movies from Disney. Ice Princess is one of my favorite movies from Disney, and it features an ice skater. That was very sweet, very beautiful, very beautifully done. Many people love that movie. But they never really show the dark side of ice skating. They show maybe the competition side, but not too much about the mental health and the physical pain that someone goes through it to perform and trying to do their best on the ice. And basically this show did capture that beautifully. They captured the mental health struggles of many ice skaters and also the physical challenges that they have to go through in order to continue with their journey and also to fulfill their dreams. And it's to compete. I have to say the actors are all wonderful. They were all they were all amazing. I really cannot say anything about it. Everyone performed so beautifully, and I'm not sure who's the professional, who's not. I presume the main characters are not ice skaters, but Jen, which is the best friend, I believe she is, because I do see her face during the performance when she skates, and I'm not sure that if that's a special effect. So I think that she's truly an ice skater, but I do believe the other actors, that even the main actress, is not. So I think that they portrayed the mental health aspect in a very interesting way. The struggles that the main character goes through are real, and I feel sorry for her. They're really good at portraying also the relationships and the problematic relationships between different players. The main relationship that is problematic is the main character's relationship with their mother, and we can see in multiple scenes we see that it's always pointed at that, like that their relation is the most important one, and that's really it kind of determined her rise and fall on the ice. Another important relationship is a friendship between her and Jen. So Kat and Jen are friends since childhood, and they have been in competition since childhood. And it kind of the show explores their friendship, how close they are, but also how Jen feels second best and kind of like the third wheel, and always the not chosen one, because the friend is always portrayed as the most talented. And then we do have also another relationship that's explored, which is two sisters, which is Kat's sister, which is she's also an ice skater. She's learning, but she's always living in the shadows of the sister because she's the most talented one, the one that's like gifted, that she has it. Even the coach says that you have it. Your sister's stronger, but you have it, something that she will never have. And another relationship that's explored is Kat and her love interest, which is like a enemies to lovers journey transition, which I adore. I do love stories in which the characters don't start the way they end, even in relationships. So enemies to lovers is usually the transition that I like to see in movies. So I find Justin very sweet. He's tried to play the bad guy, the asshole. Even the stepmother does define that characteristic, but he's truly not. He just doesn't want to be rejected. In many occasions, is looking for Kat and for her presence, and he wants her around, and he doesn't want to be alone. He wants to be seen. He wants to be with somebody that who loves him. And the way there's one scene that I truly loved when he's actually waiting for his mother after he won a competition on the ice, and it's in the on the rink, and then she doesn't show. I believe that we find out that she had an accident, and unfortunately she had passed, and that kind of like was traumatizing to him. And in another scene we see Justin waiting for Kat as well, at a party, as she was invited in by him, and then he was waiting for her, and she never shows. And I think that's traumatizing for him, the constant waiting and disappointment of that the person doesn't show is kind of like traumatizing for him. So I do like these little instances and scenes that kind of highlight the mental health aspect of each character. It gives almost an equal space to all of them. Even Jen has some type of a space for our mental and our state of mind. She's right now going through an injury, and she's trying to hide her physical disability, and that prevents her from performing because she wants to compete. She wants to continue with ice skating, but unfortunately she was injured on her leg, and she's trying to hide it very much and with all her heart. And she's taking medication, drugs, to cover the pain. So I really love all the characters. I think they're problematic, but they're talented, they're beautiful, and that they're really well built throughout the 10 episode run of the show. Unfortunately, after season 1, Netflix canceled this show, and I was quite surprised that it was canceled and heartbroken, because for once in a lifetime we see a show that portrays bipolar disorder like giving it justice. Bipolar disorder is no joke, and it's one of the types of disorders that it's always confused with the multiple personality disorder, with so many disorders, with depression. It's such a confusion between bipolar and other co-occurring issues, but bipolar is its own monster, and it deserves justice on screen and a great interpretation. And I thought the actress did a beautiful job, and they did a beautiful job interpreting it and translating what by living with a bipolar disorder means. It is truly disabling if not in control, if not medicated. Bipolar disorder is no joke. You have to absolutely be in control of it and medicate it, because once it's out of control, your life is out of control, your relationships are out of control, your health, everything. It's a truly disabling disease. Not saying that the others are not as disabling, but I'm just saying bipolar is always confused and it's always misunderstood. And it was nice to see it portrayed fairly on screen and accurately on screen. And unfortunately, they took it away by canceling this damn show. And I'm like so upset. I'm so upset that it had been canceled, because if you think about it, it did in terms of performance, cinematically, character analysis, everything was there. Like, everything was interesting about this show. I really wanted for them to continue their journey and see where everything, I would have liked to see Kat a little bit in more challenging situations, even getting further and getting more popular in the ice skating world, in the competition world, and see how that her disease affects all of this and how she can deal with the pressure. I would have loved to see that, with of course the support of her family and Justin. I do love that at least the show ended in a good note and not with a cliffhanger. I would definitely recommend this show for you guys to watch. I think it's a beautiful show. It did deserve more. The actors are amazing, and yes, I think you should watch it. It's absolutely underrated. Let me know if you guys have any other shows or movies that you want me to review that you consider underrated. I would like to include it on my list, and of course I would definitely watch it. If I didn't, I will do a reaction, and if I deem it to be underrated, I will include it on this list. But if you guys have any suggestions or anything that you think of that should be underrated, maybe reviewed by me, make sure you link them down below, and I will gladly feature it if deemed that appropriate, if I think it's underrated for sure. But usually, you guys, the audience so far that I've, my audience, whoever's commenting, they've been so great with recommendations. And whenever there's something, a movie that they recommend me, and they say, oh, it's pretty good. And maybe there was one movie that I watched that it wasn't very famous for some reason. It didn't get a lot of good criticism, it was like a bad reviews, but the person who recommended said, listen, it's a pretty good movie. I don't understand why it's not famous at all and no one knows about this movie. So I reacted to this movie and it was complete madness. It was so good. So I mean, that would have been a movie that I would have put on this underrated playlist that I just created, because I really want to give exposure and talk about shows and movies I'm passionate about, but they're not really talked about that much, and that's sad because they're so beautifully done. They put so much work to it, and it, to be honest with you, Spinning Out has been watched by many people. It has such great reviews. Many people have complained that when they canceled, they were so upset. I really hope that maybe another provider will pick it up or another company will pick it up, because it had so much potential. It's my dream to actually get my child or future children involved in ice skating, because I think it's a beautiful sport and I love when it's portrayed appropriately, because it's a learning curve for anyone who's watching. Anyone wants to get into that business, at least they know and they prepare, like in any other sport. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you guys thought of this review, and especially what you thought of the show, if you've watched it or if you intend on watching it, and let me know in the comments. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.